So you still haven't decided if you want to breed ball pythons yet? Animal, whether it be a bearded dragon, a ball python, or whatever, you always should look at what it costs to actually start breeding them and how much you can make and how long it'll take for you to make your investment back. What is the initial investment of breeding ball pythons? Then we're going to talk about how much time it'll take for you to get that initial investment back. It happens very often where someone would get into breeding ball pythons, invest like $10,000, $20,000, and then all of a sudden they expect it to make it back within the first 6 months, and it doesn't work that way. So the way ball pythons work, they breed once a year, and it could be as little as 8 months for you to see any money out of that pairing. So my ball pythons, once they lock up, I usually have it within like 6 months, they'll start laying their eggs. And then 2 months from that is when the eggs start hatching. And then 2 months or so, depending on how often your babies are eating, is when they can start being sold. So let's get talking about numbers, get into this video, and see if I can explain why or why not you should be breeding your ball pythons. If this is your first time watching my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything I put out in the future. And if you haven't already, watch my previous videos. So in my last video about breeding ball pythons, I talked about how it can take a long time before your ball pythons are ready to breed. So this girl here was actually born in October 2021. So she's already past a year old. She is still relatively small. She's still eating weans. So as of the beginning of December, she was 560 grams. And it usually, depending on who you ask, it would be anywhere from 1,200 grams to 1,500 grams is when females can start breeding. So this girl is still about 700 to 1,000 grams away from breeding. So that would probably be another year. So usually females will breed 2 to 3 years after they're born, depending on how quickly they get up to size, sometimes 4 or 5 years if they're eating small meals or not eating as often. So this girl here, I expect her to continue eating well, and she will probably be breeding next year. So this is a pinstripe pied het lavender albino. So when I got her, she was about $400 or $500. I can't remember exactly, but she was a baby. She was only about 6 months old when I got her. So 6 months old, $400 or $500. You're waiting another 1.5 years to 2.5 years before you can start breeding them. Then you also got to think about the male. So just $400 or $500 for the female side of the investment. Then you're thinking about the male. This male was actually $700. I got him as a proven breeder. So that is how you fast track your breeding program. So if he was a baby, he would probably been about $400. This is a pastel lavender albino het pied. Males can breed a lot quicker than females can. So this guy could be breeding at 1 year of age, sometimes 8 months, depending on how quickly they get up to size. Typically, it's about 1 year of age is when they're about 750 grams or so. So this guy here, being $700, is a proven breeder. If I would have gotten the pinstripe pied het lavender albino as a proven breeder, she would have been near $2,000. So let's say starting off as a baby, $400 for this guy, $400 for the female. That's an $800 investment just for the snakes. And again, it'll be about 2 years before you can breed them after you got them as babies, depending on the age you get them. Here is another pied het lavender albino. This girl was $900. She's about 800 grams or 900 grams around there. So she's not a proven breeder. She's not ready to breed yet. So you can see how she is getting more expensive depending on how old they are. So this girl here, $900 plus the pinstripe pied was $400 or $500 plus the male, you're looking at $700. So for my breeding program in this example, being able to breed them next year, next breeding season, this girl maybe at the end of this season, depending on how things go. But for my example, $700, $500, I'm looking at $1,200 plus her being $900. I'm looking at $2,100 for this breeding trio. So for her, smelling the rats. So for her being pied het lavender albino and the male being lavender albino het pied, all of my babies will be 100% het for both. That's really what I try to go for. Obviously, I could have got a double visual male and then got some normal double het females. That would have worked too. It really just depends what route you want to go. It would have been around the same price. So let's head over to the Morph Market Calculator and see what we can get when we breed my pastel lavender albino het pied to the pinstripe pied het lavender albino and to this pied het lavender albino. So here we are looking at the Morph Market Calculator. Here we have the lavender albino pastel het pied and the pied het lavender albino pairing. Again, I wouldn't be able to make anything out of this pairing until she's about 1,200 to 1,500 grams. So that's another 6 months to a year for me. So there's 8 different possibilities here. The cheapest being a double het, which would be about $100 because usually double hets are sold as normals. So you have a pastel dreamsicle. Those are about $13.50. So there's an 1/8 chance of getting this pastel dreamsicle. With that said, if on average there are 6 eggs, there's a 1 in 8 chance. That means there's a chance you don't even hit the pastel dreamsicle. However, there is 1/4 chance to hit a dreamsicle overall. So whether it's pastel or just a regular dreamsicle. And again, a regular dreamsicle would be about, I don't know, $1,300 to $1,700 depending on where you look. This one's $1,500. This one's $1,700. So going back, so from this pairing, I have a range of $100 snake all the way up into a $1,700 snake. So here I am showing the lavender albino pastel het pied male to the pinstripe pied het lavender albino female. She is, again, 560 grams. So by the time I can breed her, it'll be next season or the season after. So at least 1 year to 2 years from today. So that's going to take even longer for that pairing to take place. So the highest I can get is 1 out of 16 for a 6% chance. A lemon blast dreamsicle. Let's see how much those go for. So this is not a good example because this is not even a lemon blast dreamsicle. So if we look at the pinstripe dreamsicle, you're looking at $2,000, $1,800. So really, let's say adding pastel doesn't add much effect to it. So let's say it's $2,000 for the pastel pinstripe dreamsicle. So with this pairing, again, I have a 1/4 chance of hitting a dreamsicle overall. So from this pairing, I have anywhere from a $100 snake all the way up to a $2,000 snake. Again, this is going to be about 2 years in the making. So for me to get any money out of this pairing is going to be a while. Now let's go talk about feeder costs for this pairing. Now as we talk about breeding costs, I just want to show you this nice het dreamsicle. So she is double het, lavender albino, and pied. So if you're thinking about 7 months of feeders, that's 28 feeders. And some feeders you can get for as little as $3 and some as much as $5. So 28 feeders at $3 versus 28 feeders at $5. That makes a huge difference. So it really just depends on what you can get them for. For me, I found someone local that was actually selling them for $2 a piece. So I'll show you what that would look like for my feeding cost for this female for 7 months. Now, you also have to think about the fact that you have a male and other females to feed. From the time I got my pinstripe pied het lavender albino, it'll take me about 2 years or 1.5 years to get her up to size. So here's the breeding cost for her to get up to size from the time I got her. Now, for my pied het lavender albino, I got her at about 800, 900 grams already. So for me to get her up to size, 400 grams is going to be a while, but I don't anticipate that it's going to take longer than 6 months for her to get up to the 1,200 gram to 1,500 gram range. Since the male is already a proven breeder, I'm just going to put the feeder cost for the same time frame as the pied het lavender albino because she is going to be the first one to get up to size for my breeding project of dreamsicles. So with all that said, you're looking at an initial cost of several $1,000s. I'll put the right number here based off my prices. And you're also looking at a total cost all the way into the time that you can start breeding. Right here, I'm putting the prices up. Once you finally hatch your eggs and you can start selling your snakes, based on the amount that you can get out of that clutch. So it's just an average based on the percentages per combination, per genetic, per snake. Here is how much you would have invested minus how much you would have made from that pairing. And then again, this is a trio, so it's going to be the total of all 3 snakes and how much it costs to feed them minus how much you made off the 2 pairings, because obviously dreamsicles do go for a little bit. And this is why I always say, if you're going to start breeding something, breed for higher end stuff. Even though you might be sitting on them longer, sometimes it just pays off to get more out of one baby than having a whole clutch that's worth $2,000 and only getting $1,000 out of it. Because sometimes you do have to have cells on them. Sometimes you do have to wholesale them, and then sometimes they don't sell at all, so you just have to keep them until the next year and breed them yourself, because sometimes your males will be sticking around for about a year, and then you have another breeder male that you didn't think you were going to have. If you made it this far into the video, I appreciate it. Don't forget to like and share. Subscribe so you don't miss anything I'll put out in the future, and also hit that notification bell. Peace.